What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the show where I go over all the comic books that are coming out on Wednesday, tell you a little bit about them, and let you know whether it's something you should check out at the shop when you go in for your weekly pull. Make sure you subscribe to get one of these every single Monday. The books that I want to talk about start off with Green Arrow number 37, which is going to bring about the rise of the Red Arrow, which is about Emiko Queen, the young sister of Oliver Queen, took an arrow for her older brother, and now she's in danger. So this is going to be a start of some sort of brand new little story, so it's definitely something, if you want to get into Green Arrow, a good place to jump into. Also, I want to talk about Black Bolt number 10. So this is an unsung hero of Marvel from Legacy, and just because of Christian Ward's phenomenal art. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's good enough to just look at, let alone read. And read, it's still a pretty goddamn good book. It's still a pretty good book. So it's one of those things where I'm trying to pick it up as often as I possibly can, but because it's such a low print run, it's hard for my comic book shop to keep it in stock without me putting it on my pull list, and I'm not quite that committed to it yet. So check it out, see if it's something for you. I'm going to still try and track it down. Otherwise, I might get it digitally, something along those lines, just to kind of keep up with the story. And of course, gaze at Christian Ward's fantastic art. Another new storyline that's coming out is Deathstroke number 28, which picks up after the events of Deathstroke Annual number 1, and is a whole different kind of arc. We're no longer dealing with the Defiance team and all that kind of stuff. So Christopher Priest has been doing a great job on writing this, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. It hasn't been on my regular pull kind of watch list for quite some time, but I'm always intrigued by Deathstroke, especially when Priest is doing the job that he's doing. It's one of those things that I'm going to have to recommend it, or at least that you check it out to see if it's something that might tickle your fancy. Of course, we do have ongoing kind of crossover series that are happening, like Avengers 679, which is going to continue the No Surrender storyline, and it's still going on. I mean, there's going to be a lot more of these kind of things going on, and it's just a whole heap of events that's kind of really coming up. There's going to be like Hulk stuff, and all kinds of things are going to be cracking in the Marvel universe, and I'm not really excited for No Surrender, unfortunately. It's one of those things where I'm going to read it, but okay. I don't really know what to say about it because it's not necessarily something that gets me excited. Of course, one thing that is getting me excited is Justice League, and I mean, Justice League 38 is that's a pretty cool book that's coming out, but it's by Christopher Priest, and he's writing a very different style of Justice League story. But of course, you have Justice League news in the future, which we'll talk about in a different video, and I'm really excited for that. But one of the things, you've got to kind of bring that support back for Justice League. I'm really liking it a little bit more than when Brian Hitch was writing it, but it's not necessarily something that's cataclysmic or world-shaking or altering, but that's going to come soon enough. So I can't wait to see what Christopher Priest has got in his short run on Justice League before somebody else takes over. Of course, getting back into big books that are probably going to be getting new writers, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 795, which is continuing the Red Threat or Red Alert, storyline, which is going to be the culmination of Dan Slott's run on Amazing Spider-Man. And this time we get to see how he interacts with the brand new Sorcerer Supreme, Loki. So with Doctor Strange out of the mix, Spider-Man has to go deal with this Asgardian version of the Sorcerer Supreme, and I can't wait to see what kind of interactions they have. I can't wait to see if there's any kind of banter. I can't wait to see how the Red Threat develops, as we found out that Norman Osborn now has the Carnage symbiote. So he's about to create the Red Goblin, and shit's gonna hit the fan, and I can't wait to see what it does. Then we'll bounce back over to DC, and we'll talk about Superman number 40, and with Superman number 40, we've got James Robinson writing it instead of Peter J. Tomasi, so he's taking a break, but there's also going to be another change that's going to be happening with the writers, but again, talking about that in a very different video. And this one is about Suicide Planet, so it's about kind of like this symbolically similar planet that is undergoing some sort of cataclysmic failure, which is totally destroying a race, and Superman and Superboy are taking it upon themselves, it looks like, to kind of go out there and try and rescue or avert this crisis. So I'm interested to see what James Robinson's spin on the characters really does, because I'm really enjoying Peter J. Tomasi, and I'm not sure what I'm going to enjoy later on in the future, just dependent on how things are really going to go. So it's limiting my exposure to what Peter really brings to this story, but I'm following along with it anyway, because it's Superman, and you gotta follow along on Superman. Superman is like the quintessential storybook that you can get out of DC. Another quintessential storybook that you get out of DC would be Batman number 40, though. So Batman number 40 is the final part of the Super Friends story between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and if you remember what happened at the end of the last issue, Cue pan of last page. What we're going to get is a conclusion to this kind of relationship where Batman, Bruce and Diana have been spending at least a decade in this foreign kind of realm, this odd dimension where the gentleman has taken his repose, he's taken his rest. He's only been there a year, but it seems like he's been fighting for 1,000 years and would fight for 1,000 more. And now he's got 24 hours of kind of vacancy left to them by a promise made by Diana, by Wonder Woman and Batman. And it's interesting to see how it kind of plays on that. It's one of those things that I'm definitely going to review. Shit, I said definitely again. It's one of those things that I'm going to review because I want to see how this story evolves. Is Tom King either going to hit it out of the park, or is he just kind of bunt and maybe get a single or get thrown at it first? We don't really know, and that's what's the most intriguing thing about this issue. Getting back over to Marvel, I do want to talk about a storyline that I'm really liking, and that is Mayor Fisk. And Mayor Fisk in Daredevil 598 is going to bring back the Muse, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to be going on inside the city. First off, you've got this, Kingpin on vigilante crime sweep that he's swiping the police officers all the way through New York City, trying to round up anybody that they possibly can, particularly the man in the horned mask. And I love it. Just the idea of Kingpin being mayor of New York City. I want to see the impact that it has. I mean, if we've got Loki, Sorcerer Supreme that's hopping into Amazing Spider-Man, Mayor Kingpin definitely needs to be in there. Get on that dance slot. You deserve. Charles Soule deserves that kind of acclaim when it comes to his idea. It's brilliant and fantastic, and I want to see as much of it in Marvel as possible. Another book that's turning the political spectrum on its ear is Batman White Knight, and issue number 5 comes out, and Jack Napier is really hitting his stride. Since he's no longer the Joker, we've got the Neo Joker out there, which is, Mary Andrews, some sort of other kind of play off of Harley Quinn, and so it's Harley and it's Jack, and they're training to fight or something along those lines, and you've got, Duke Thomas is actually this retired lieutenant who's from the military, and there's all this kind of stuff that's going on in Backport. There's just all this intrigue that's happening. But the thing about Batman White Knight is its pacing. It's super cyclical. So it'll go really fast because you can go through the art and it's just telling such a great story in the art. And then it's heavy pages of dialogue. It's a little ridiculous. So it's not necessarily what I would consider the most polished of stories, but it's definitely something that's got my interest, and I love the art style. Sean Gordon Murphy destroys this book. It is so good, and the character designs are so good. The action scenes are so good. I just love looking at it. You could just take all the pages off, all the words off the pages, and I'd be like, oh, cool, that's still a great book. It looks that good. But now that we're done with continuing ongoing series, let's talk about new number ones. So new number ones coming out. We've got Images versus number 1, and this is illustrated by Esad Ribic. I don't really care what the story is. The cover looks phenomenal. Esad Ribic is one of my favorite artists when it comes to, when he did his little stint on, Mighty Thor, and he just does so much good work. I can't wait to see what he puts into this story, what the concept is, what the structure is, and I can't wait to see what he dishes out when it comes to fantastic art. Esad Ribic, choice. Of course, over at Marvel, we have a few new number 1s as well. First one would be Infinity Countdown Adam Warlock number 1, which shows the return of Adam Warlock in this story that was evidently so momentous that Jerry Dugan pitched it and they canceled Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess. But the big thing is that it's leading into Infinity Countdown. You're going to have Infinity Countdown Prime, and then of course you're going to have this storyline. And it looks like there's so many different people that are going to be involved in this that have Infinity Stones. So we're talking Wolverine, we're talking Gamora. I mean, is it the Thing or is it the Super Skrull? We don't really know at this point in time, but it's the big kickoff point for this, and it's not necessarily leading directly into Infinity War, but it's dealing with those kind of gemstones, those altering reality pieces of the Marvel Universe, which I'm always a huge fan of cosmic stuff, so definitely something I'm going to be checking out. Another book that I have to check out, though, is Mother Panic Batman number 1, which is part of the Milk Wars crossover. So if you remember how much love I have for Milkman Man and this whole strange Doom Patrol universe crossover situation, and how much Young Animal has really been a great setup for all these individual books and how they've kind of focused on this off-kilter storytelling, I really am excited to see how the Mother Panic Batman crossover goes, because you got Father Bruce, who basically raises a whole bunch of orphans to turn them into sidekicks that are disposable. It just sounds ridiculous and fun. So I'm excited to see what Jody Houser and the rest of the team puts together for this. And of course, you've got this phenomenal Frank Quietly art for the cover. It just looks great. I pick it up, go get Doom Patrol JLA, or JLA Doom Patrol number 1, which was last week. And I'm going to be doing reviews on all this thing because it's just so cool and I like it so much. Another one coming from DC, though, is the Swamp Thing Winter Special #1, written by Tom King, with art by Jason Fabic, I believe. And this is going to be Tom King's tale of Swamp Thing. It's going to be one single book. It's going to be by Tom King. It's going to be about Swamp Thing and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's Tom King and it's Swamp Thing. So these are two fantastic things that are combined, and I can't see a reason not to buy it. Of course, there is one last #1 that I want to talk about, and that would be X-Men Red #1, which is coming from Marvel. So with the culmination of Phoenix Resurrection, the return of Jean Grey, which was a great storyline written by Matthew Rosenberg with, good art throughout the entire thing, but it was a great reintroduction of the character back into the Marvel Universe and giving her kind of her own independence without being tied to the Phoenix entity. So I can't wait to see what she does with this brand new team, which has got a lot of classic characters that we haven't necessarily seen a lot of. You got Namor. He was in Squadron Supreme, which was shit. So not only do you have like a classic character like Namor coming in to take over this team with Jean Grey, but you also have a bunch of different characters that are going to be lending their skills and talents to this, like Laura Kinney's X-23. There's going to be so much good stuff that's going on in this, and I can't wait to see where this is going, especially after such a great reintroduction of the character of Jean Grey into the Marvel Universe. So it's something that I'm going to be picking up. It's something that you guys should be picking up. It's the only X-Men book that I'm going to be picking up and putting on my pull list, which is a pretty big deal. But I want to know what you guys think, and if you have any other books that you're going to be picking up that are something that I should be checking out. So hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.